welcome to the Preteen ministry of First United Methodist Church here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. We're just super glad that you've chosen to spend a few minutes of your Sunday evening with us. We didn't play a game last week, and I really want to play a game with you guys. So how many of you have ever asked would you rather questions? Yeah, see, they're kind of fun, but most of the time they involve some pretty hard choices because there are definitely some things that we do not want to do, but this shouldn't be that hard. All right, would you rather eat chocolate ice cream or vanilla ice cream? What about ride a roller coaster or a water ride? And would you rather play board games or video games? Take a minute, pause this video, and talk to the people around you with your answer. As we get into the story today, I need some help, and so I brought my friend Jake here to help me out. So I'm going to have you do some Bible readings for us today. Does that sound like something you can do?
I feel like it's something I can do, absolutely.
You ready? All right. Before we get into the story, let me set the scene a bit for you. So during the final week of Jesus' life, there were some pretty important events that went down. You see, the Jewish religious leaders had been plotting for a while on how they could get rid of Jesus, who they saw as a threat to everything they had stood for. And that Sunday before Passover, Jesus had entered into Jerusalem on the back of a donkey, fulfilling an incredibly powerful Old Testament prophecy about the coming king. See, this did not go over too well with the leaders. So meanwhile, Judas, one of Jesus' disciples, crafted a plan with the religious leaders to hand over Jesus in exchange for only 30 pieces of silver. So there were a lot of things happening in this final week, and sadly, many people misunderstood Jesus, and they were out to get rid of him. And none of these things, however, would catch Jesus by surprise. He knew why he came, and he knew what needed to happen. See, as families all around Jerusalem were celebrating the Passover meal, Jesus gathered with his closest friends and shared the meal with them, but also tried to prepare them for all that would take place next. Are you okay?
What?
You're good?
Yeah,
You're still good?
Yeah,
okay,
absolutely.
okay, awesome. Yeah, you're about to head on, okay?
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure you're good.
Good to go.
All right. See, after the meal, Jesus led his disciples out of Jerusalem to the Mount of Olives. Judas had already slipped away to begin his plan, and as they were walking, Jesus made a shocking statement. He told his disciples that on that very night, each one of them would turn away from him. They would leave him, and that brings us to our text. So if you could start reading verse 36 for us.
Verse 36.
Yeah, verse 36.
Then Jesus went with them to the olive grove called Gethsemane, and he said, "Sit here while I go over there to pray." He took Peter and Zebedee's two sons, James and John, and he became anguished and distressed. He told them, "My soul is crushed with grief to the point of death. Stay here and keep watch with me."
Wow, see, this may be a side of Jesus that you aren't really used to seeing. Sad, troubled, very sad, and close to death. I mean, what was happening here? See, but Jesus seems to be going through something pretty serious, and I think we need to read a little further to understand it. I said, I think... Jake!
I don't want to go to school, Mom!
No, you gotta read.
Oh,
Where were we at? Verse 39.
Yeah. Okay.
He went on a little farther and bowed with his face to the ground, praying, "My Father, if it is possible, let this cup of suffering be taken away from me. Yet I want your will to be done, not mine."
Great, thanks. See, that was a powerful moment in the garden the night before he knew he would die. Jesus wrestled with the reality of what was about to happen. He knew the events that were to follow would be terribly difficult. And the betrayal, the trial, the cross, he asked his Father to take it away. But in that very next breath, he acknowledged that this was not about what he wanted. Let's keep reading. All right. Then he returned to his disciples and found them sleeping. "Could you men not keep watch with me for 1 hour?" he asked Peter. "Watch and pray so that you will not fall into temptation. The spirit is willing, but the body is weak." He went away a second time and prayed, "My Father, if it is not possible for this cup to be taken away unless I drink it, may your will be done." See, in the moment when he needed them most, his closest friends were sleeping. But notice how once again Jesus faced the reality of what was going to happen, but then asked God for the strength to do it. If we keep going, it says, when he came back, he found them sleeping again because their eyes were heavy. So he left them and went away once more and prayed the third time, saying the same thing. Then he returned to the disciples and said to them, "Are you still sleeping and resting? Look, the hour is near and the Son of Man is betrayed into the hands of sinners. Rise, let us go. Here comes my betrayer." Hey, you're done now. Thanks.
We're done?
Yeah, you're done. You're done.
I can help.
Yeah, appreciate you, man. See ya. See, as Jesus was talking to his disciples, Judas arrived, but he wasn't alone. He had a large crowd carrying swords and clubs, really a small army, come to arrest Jesus. After Judas signaled to the crowd which one was Jesus, they grabbed Jesus to arrest him. At this moment, one of Jesus' disciples, Peter, grabbed a sword and began to fight back. But get this, Jesus stopped him. And why would he do that? Because he says this, "Do you think I can't ask my Father for help? He would send an army of more than 70,000 angels right away. But then how would the scriptures come true? They say that it must happen this way." Jesus told his disciples, "I could stop this if I wanted to, but it has to happen this way." Remember, Jesus just came from an intense time of praying to his Father about his mission and resolving himself for the hard journey ahead. And immediately that hard journey began. Betrayal, arrest, but Jesus was ready. He did not resist, even though he could have. And Jesus knew that this was the Father's plan and that he would put that plan first, no matter what. See, sometimes putting others first can be costly. Imagine you make plans with a friend to go over to their house and play video games. But when you run into the living room to ask your mom to drive you, you can see just how overwhelmed she is with the laundry and trying to get caught up on a never-ending pile of socks. You want to play video games, but you know that the right thing to do would be to pitch in and help your mom out instead. That costs you, but it sure does help someone else out. It may not be on the same level as Jesus being willing to give up his life, but in small ways, we have the opportunity to give up our lives for others every single day. And that makes us more and more like Jesus. So as we close this, here's our question for the week. And I really want you to think about this one and maybe talk with the people around you about how you can actually take action and apply this to your life this week. Our key question is, how do you put others first? How are you going to put others first this week? Hey, thanks for joining us here at First United Methodist Church this week. We love you, God loves you, and we can't wait to be all back together here soon. Have a great week.